I don't know when the city decided to slow down tonight. Maybe it happened all at once when the last shutters closed and the last voices slipped away into side streets. Or maybe it stepped down a little at a time, like someone turning a dial lower and lower, until only a soft hum is left. By the time I notice it, Florence is breathing quietly. The streets behind me are almost empty. A single window is still lit somewhere up high. A square of warm light floating on a wall of stone. But even that feels gentle, like an eye that is half closed and drifting. The air is warm, but not heavy. It carries the dry smell of old stone, a faint trace of wine from a bar that closed an hour ago, and beneath everything, that unmistakable patient scent of the river. I step on to the Ponte Vecchio, and the boards accept my weight with a tired creak. It's the sound of something ancient shifting a little, finding a more comfortable position for the night. The shops are sleeping. Their wooden shutters glow with leftover gold from the day, holding it in a thin layer over the surface. Metal locks rest in place, like small silent guardians. All the glitter that dazzled the tourists has been tucked away, and what remains is just the bones of the bridge, quiet and sure of itself. The river below moves slowly. From up here, it looks like a long strip of dark glass, with threads of light stitched into it. Lamps along the banks drop coins of color into the water, and the Arno takes each one and stretches it into a trembling path that seems to reach far past the edge of the city. I walk without any particular destination, letting my steps be guided by the rhythm of wood underfoot and water below. Halfway across the bridge, I feel it before I see it. A small interruption, a detail that doesn't quite belong to the smooth surface of the night. Near the railing, just beside my shoe, something catches a piece of moonlight and throws it back at me. A key. I crouch down and pick it up. It has the heavy simplicity of old things that were built to last. Bronze, worn soft in places, its edges rounded by years of being turned, held, carried. At the top, the bow is shaped into a lily dash. The Florentine giglio, not polished or ornate, just outlined with calm precision. It's cool in my hand, but not cold, as if it has been waiting on the stone for only a short while. I turn it slowly between my fingers. There is no ribbon attached, no note, no sign of where it belongs. But as I stand there with the key resting in my palm, a feeling rises quietly inside my chest, the same feeling you get when you realize you have walked into a room you were meant to return to. I slip the key into my pocket and keep walking. The farther I go, the softer the sounds become. A faint murmur of conversation drifts up from the far bank, then fades. Somewhere behind me, a scooter crosses another bridge, its engine reduced to a distant harmless buzz. Overhead, a few thin clouds brush against the moon and slide on. On my left, one of the shutters looks like all the others, and yet my attention settles on it. There is no light underneath, no sign of movement inside, and still I feel that same quiet pull, as if the air in front of that door is slightly warmer than the rest of the night. I stop there. For a moment, I only listen. To the river, to my own breathing, to the small creaks of the bridge adjusting. Then, I take the key out again. The metal of the lock and the metal of the key recognize each other at once. They don't struggle. They don't protest. They click together, and the sound is soft, like a sigh of relief. I lift the shutter slowly. The wood rises with a low groan, not angry, just old. Inside, the shop is dark at first, a silhouette made of shelves and counters, but as my eyes adjust, I begin to see more. There is a workbench near the back wall, scarred and smooth in all the right places. Tools rest on it in careful arrangements, thin files, tiny hammers, needles and pliers, a magnifying lens that still holds a faint ring of light. From some long-finished day, glass cases stand along the sides of the room. Most of them are empty now, but a few hold small flashes of metal, sleeping sparks that catch whatever light slips in from outside. The air smells like polished wood, a hint of oil and something sweet and metallic. The ghost of gold dust that has settled into every crack and corner. I close the shutter halfway behind me, leaving it open just enough for the night to send in a pale beam of light. Then I walk to the workbench. On the surface, among the tools and scraps, there is a rectangle of soft cloth neatly folded. At its center, resting in a small, shallow wooden tray, lies a pendant. It is not large. If I close my hand around it, it would disappear completely, but it draws my gaze with the quiet insistence of things that have waited a long time to be seen. I lift it carefully. The chain is short, fine, but strong. The pendant itself is shaped like a small, stretched drop, narrow at the top, wider at the base, as if it were made to capture the moment water elongates just before it falls. On one side, delicate lines trace a miniature landscape, the arch of the bridge, the uneven row of houses, tiny windows carved as shallow indents. The outline is not perfect, not symmetrical. It looks the way the Ponte Vecchio might appear, in a memory held for many years. A little softened, but deeply loved. I turn it over. On the back, there is an inscription, barely more than a breath in the metal. A chi veglia, il ponte restituisce. To the one who keeps watch, the bridge gives back. As I read it, something inside me loosens like a knot that had been tied for so long. I had forgotten it was even there. I set the pendant back down. but my fingers linger on it. The metal is warmer now. It feels strangely alive. I sit on the high stool in front of the workbench and let my hands rest on my knees. The room around me is so still that I can hear tiny details, the faint tick of something cooling, the soft scrape of fabric when I shift, the distant muffled rush of the river seeping through the walls. Time here feels different, not like a straight line, but like a pool, with slow circles expanding from a single drop. I look around more carefully. On a side shelf, there are small sketches pinned to the wood, pencil outlines of pendants, rings, brooches. Some have notes scribbled in the margins, too heavy. Try thinner, add space for light. Others are just fragments, half a design, a curve, a cluster of dots that might one day become stones. Near the window, a wooden chair stands, angled just so as if someone rose from it not long ago and meant to come back. A folded cloth rests on its seat, threadbare but clean. I imagine a figure moving through this space, reaching for tools, without needing to look, checking a piece of metal against the light, leaning closer to listen to the sound it makes when touched by a file or a hammer. Not hurrying, never hurrying, letting each small thing take the time it needs. I don't know why, but a calm spreads through me. That is deeper than the quiet of the night. It feels like standing in the very center of the bridge itself, where nothing presses in from either side and you are held between banks, in a place that belongs only to the water and the air. Eventually, I stand. I lift the pendant once more, not to take it, but to feel its weight properly. It settles into my palm with easy certainty, like a truth that does not need to raise its voice. Ci veglia, I whisper, barely moving my lips. Maybe the custodian this inscription speaks of is someone who walks this bridge every night, checking the locks, the lights, the stones. Maybe it is the river, forever moving under the arches, never leaving, never truly arriving. Maybe it is the city itself, keeping watch over all the quiet lives that unfold in its rooms and streets. I place the pendant back in its tray and fold the cloth gently over it. Then I step away from the workbench, cross the room, and reopen the shutter. The night slips in at once, soft and cool, brushing against my face. Outside, Florence is even quieter than before. The narrow street beyond the shop is almost empty of light, but the sky above it is wide. A few stars have escaped the glow of the city and linger there, small but steady. I lock the shop again from the outside, feeling the key turn in the opposite direction this time. A motion of closure, of returning things to the way they are meant to rest. Then I walk back to the center of the bridge. I don't put the key back where I found it. Not yet. I let it sit in my pocket a little longer, warm now against the fabric as I lean on the railing. And finally, allow myself to simply stand still. The Arno glides under me, dark and immense in its patience. Light trembles on its surface in long, slow movements. Some reflections break, then reform a little farther down, like thoughts that drift away, only to come back in a changed shape. A faint breeze moves along the water, carrying with it the cool of distant hills and the dusty sweetness of the day just past. It touches my face, threads through my hair, and continues on, crossing the bridge, as if I were nothing more than another stone. I let my body relax, inch by inch. My shoulders slide down, my jaw softens, my hands grow heavy on the stone railing. I listen. I hear the soft knock of wood from somewhere below, perhaps a boat nudging gently against its moorings. I hear a window closing far away, the sound wrapped in so much distance that it reaches me like a memory. I hear the steady, unhurried sound of the river, the kind of sound that could go on forever, without ever needing to change. A bell chimes once, then twice, then a slow third time. From a tower I cannot see from here. The notes float over the roofs, softening as they travel until they settle somewhere above the water and dissolve into nothing. And as I stand there, I begin to notice something else, a feeling quiet but certain that I am not only looking at the bridge, but standing inside what it has gathered over the years. All the footsteps that have crossed this span, all the tired evenings and hopeful mornings, all the spoken words and the unspoken ones, all the people who paused like I'm pausing now, leaning over this same railing, losing their thoughts in the same moving dark. The key in my pocket grows warmer, as if answering some hidden call. I take it out one last time and look at it in the lamplight. Il ponte restituis. I repeat softly. Maybe this is what it gives back. A moment that belongs only to you, stitched gently into the fabric of all the other moments that came before. I place the key on the stone where I first found it. For a second, it looks out of place, too bright against the worn surface. Then a cloud shifts. The light changes, and it becomes just another detail, quiet and right where it should be. I stay a little longer, watching the water, letting my breathing fall into rhythm with the slow pulse of the river, in cool and deep, carrying the night with it. Out warm and soft, carrying away the noise of the day. In, out, nothing to hold on to, nothing to push away. Eventually, I feel the kind of tiredness that doesn't weigh me down, but lightens me, like I have set something down at the feet of the bridge, and it has accepted it without question. Florence does not say good night. She doesn't need to. She keeps breathing behind me as I turn to leave, her alleys and arches and silent windows, watching with calm, half-lidded eyes. I take my first step away from the railing, then another, the wooden boards once again giving their quiet, familiar creak. The river continues its endless, gentle work below. And I walk slowly back across the bridge, carrying with me an imprint of this night, a key left behind, a pendant sleeping in the dark, and the soft certainty that somewhere between one bank and the other, in the middle of an old bridge over a patient river, I was allowed to rest, and the city kept watch for both of us. More Italian bedtime stories coming very soon. If you enjoyed this moment of calm, subscribe and like the video for more gentle storytelling.